By day, I'm a home ec teacher who teaches hundreds of students how to crochet, cook, quilt, and sew. And if a middle schooler can learn how to crochet, so can you. So let's get started. So to begin your double crochet, first off, we're going to learn how to double crochet into a chain stitch. If you don't know how to complete a chain stitch, check out my video on how to slip knot and chain and crochet. I'll include a link to it in the description below. Before we get going as well, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to get notifications for when I post new videos. So let's get started. So to begin, because I'm a right-handed crocheter, I do a lot of my tension work with my left hand. So how I create tension is I bring my yarn up between my pinky and my ring finger. I go behind my ring finger. I come up between my middle finger and my ring finger. And then I go over the top of my middle and my index finger. And that is part of how I create tension. Then with my left hand, I grab onto my work with my middle finger and my thumb. And now I'm ready to go. So to begin, a double crochet usually starts off in a chain in the third chain from the hook. So we're not going here, we're not going here, we're going right here into this third chain from the hook. If you pull it tight, you can see each of them kind of looks like a V. So we're going into the third V from the hook. So 1, 2, 3. Right here is where I'm going to place that stitch. So I move my middle finger and my thumb right up to the bottom part of that stitch so I know exactly where I'm going. Now before I go into that spot, I do need to yarn over. So the yarn over movement is simply a rotating kind of circular movement. So when I start, my hook is now facing towards me. So then I'm going to go down, underneath my yarn, rotate up, and then I'm going to grab onto that yarn with the hook part. And I'm also kind of rotating my hook. I'm going to make it so it rotates down now. Instead of facing towards me, we're now facing downwards. Now we're ready to go into my chain stitch. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick up one leg from my chain stitch. Some patterns will tell you to pick up 2 legs, so kind of just pay attention to what your pattern writer says, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we'll pick up 1 leg. So again, that's what 1 leg of the chain stitch looks like. There's what 2 looks like. So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're going to pick up 1 leg. Now we need to yarn over again. This yarn over movement is slightly different than the previous one. We just simply come up, grab onto that yarn. Now I'm going to keep my hook horizontal for pulling through the chain. So now I've pulled through the chain. Now I've got 3 loops left on my hook. I need to yarn over again, and this is the more rotating circular yarn over. We're going to go back, around, up, grab on. Now I want my hook facing downward for this. We're going to pull through 2 of the loops. Now I'm left with 2 loops on my hook. I need to do the rotating yarn over again. So I'm going to come up, rotate, and then pull through the 2 loops. Now I'm left with 1 loop on my hook, and that's a properly completed double crochet. You should end up with just 1 loop left on your hook. Let's move to the next chain. So again, we're going to yarn over. It's the rotating yarn over where my hook ends up facing down. I'm going to go right here to pick up 1 leg of that chain stitch. So now when I pull through this chain stitch, I keep my hook horizontal because it makes it so it slips more easily through this chain stitch. If I were facing upwards, I'd catch. If I were facing downwards, I'd catch. So horizontal makes it the easiest route to get through that chain stitch. Now I'm going to do the yarn over where I simply come up, grab on. I'm going to pull through horizontally. Now I've got 3 loops left on my hook. Now I do the rotating circular yarn over. We're going to go back and around. Now this time my hook faces downwards because again, it is the easiest path to get the hook through the loops on my hook. If I were facing up, I catch. If I were facing sideways, I catch. But if I face downward, it slips super easy through those loops. So yarn over, into the chain, yarn over, pull horizontally through the chain, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. There's another double crochet. Another way that I create tension is I keep my finger on this loop that's on my hook. That keeps it from getting too big or too small. So let's go to the next one. Yarn over, into the chain. I'm going to go just a hair faster so I can get across this chain, and then I'll show you a second row of double crochet. Hopefully this is making sense to you guys. If it is, Let me know in the comments below. Say yes, it's making sense, or if it's not, leave me a question or tell me what's not making sense. So yarn over, into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, into the chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Crochet is a lot of muscle memory, so you're just going to need to practice. Practice definitely makes perfect when it comes to crochet. And you have to be willing to tear out messes that you've made. So let's say I didn't like how that stitch looked. It is as simple as gently pulling on my yarn that's still attached to my ball, and I'm just going to pull out my stitch, and then I can redo it. Don't be afraid to do that, you guys. Crochet literally takes a lot of practice until you develop that muscle memory and get used to how it feels and what your stitches, should look like. And it'll get to the point where you don't even have to think about it. Your hands will just do the work for you. All right, we're to the last chain. So we'll simply yarn over, put it into the last chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now sometimes you have to tighten this last chain, and I do that by simply nudging that knot up right here off of the tail. Okay, so there is your first row of double crochet. Now we need to chain to get it to the proper height to do our second row. So usually a double crochet calls for 3 chains. So the chaining movement simply looks like this. My rotating yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 3. So there's my chain 3. Now we need to turn. So if your instructions say to turn, it is as simple as taking your work and going from facing towards your hook to turn it to face away from the hook. So again, a turn movement is simply going from this to this. All right, so now we are ready to go on to our next row. So we're gonna go right into this spot right here. Now hopefully you can see we're going into this top hole right here is where we're gonna go, right here. So again, it's a yarn over, the circular yarn over. We're gonna go into that hole. Make sure you have 2 legs from that previous double crochet on top. We're gonna yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. If you look at the top of this work, each of the previous double crochets, the top of them looks like that V stitch as well, just like our chain stitch looked like. So you can just figure on putting a stitch in every single V. So okay, let's go yarn over. We're gonna come and go right in this hole right here. Right there, make sure you got 2 legs. Yarn over, pull through that stitch. Now I'm left with 3. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Let's go to the next one. Yarn over, right here is where we're going. Yarn over, pull through 2, or pull through the stitch, sorry. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're just gonna keep going across this, and then I'll show you how that last stitch will look. So notice you can get moving a lot faster once you get the hang of this stitch. If your pattern does tell you to go below the bar, this is what they're talking about with the bar right here, this little spot right here. So you would simply place your double crochet into this hole right here, this bigger hole. Most double crochets just go into that smaller hole, but below the bar would be into the bigger hole. So just so you know, this is what it would look like. I'll do one. So there is my double crochet below the bar. So you can see the difference there. So into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Go to the next one, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, next one. Okay, so now we're to the very last stitch here. And we need to make sure, again, our hook is gonna wanna try and pick up just one leg of this chain here. So you really need to make sure that you pick up both of those chains. So you can see what it looks like here on the end. This V right here, we're getting both of those legs is what we need. So we're gonna yarn over, that tiny little hole right there is where we're going. And make sure you get both of those legs. Yarn over, pull through that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there are 2 rows of double crochet.